Take you back to our top story now. The mining sector could face another strike. Trade union Amcu is calling for a secondary strike at mines in the platinum and coal sectors. Now, that announcement coming after Sibanye-Stillwater said it would retrench thousands of workers. Amcu held a media briefing just a short while ago. eNCA's Aviwe Mtila was there. He is tracking the story for us. I mean, Aviwe, this is a serious call by Amcu President Joseph Matunjwa. If we just cast our minds back to 2014, this is the same union that started that debilitating strike action in the platinum sector that lasted 5 months.
Well, that is true, Michelle. That was the longest strike, essentially, in the history of South Africa. The same union, Amcu, the Association of Mine and Construction Union, are calling for a standstill, essentially, in the mining industry. They're saying they want to shut down not only the platinum and the coal, but essentially the whole of South Africa's mining industry. We're here in the morning side where they just held a media briefing detailing that exactly. Currently, they're undergoing a strike from the 22nd of November last year already, a 3-month strike that we're seeing at Sibanye-Stillwater at their gold operation. 15,000 of their workers downed tools over there, and they haven't gone back to work as yet. They had a Black Christmas, and of course they couldn't pay for back to school essentially in January for their children. So they now wanting to broaden it, following the calls by Sibanye-Stillwater last week that said that it wants to restructure. And of course, that would affect thousands of jobs, 5,870 to be direct. That's the direct employment that would be affected if Sibanye-Stillwater were to essentially restructure and eventually retrench. 800 direct contracting jobs also on the line over there. But just to get more clarity, is the president of Amcu. I'm joined by the president of Amcu, Ubaba Joseph Matunjwa. As I just mentioned, you're undergoing a strike now in the gold sector. You're calling for a broader strike in the coal, platinum, and the industry as a whole. What's this new call for?
It's in support of our members who've been on strike from the 21st of November to date. So Neil Froneman and his dark forces, they declare war to the working class, in particular to Amcu. Froneman, the way he does his things, you could see clearly that these positions that he took is a very informed position. Froneman, when he wanted to purchase Lonmin, without any hesitation, he just said, I'm going to retrench 13,600 workers. And it's where Amcu is concentrated. And it's not about really Amcu as a union, but it's about the people of South Africa, breadwinners. So therefore, we mustn't be much concerned of saying the strike has been 3 months. What about these 10 million people who goes to bed without food in South Africa? Graduates who've been to the university, their families spend the last cents to try to give them a future, but today they are not employed. We are employed. We are employed. So we shouldn't be worried. We should be worried that our government is controlled by monopoly capital. These minerals are not Froneman's inheritance. These minerals are for the people of South Africa. If Froneman really is serious that his company is bleeding money, they don't have money, we need to retrench him first, because by retrenching Froneman, we will save 676 jobs at a go.
Now, Sibanye-Stillwater is saying that it suffered financial losses, some attributed because of the ongoing strike itself. What are you hoping to achieve? Because they're saying they won't back down as Sibanye-Stillwater. They won't reach your agreements that you want that extra 1,000 rand wage increase. They're saying they're not going to meet your demands. They're saying that they probably will have to retrench further 5,870. What are you hoping to achieve? We're seeing a further jobs bloodbath, essentially.
The fact of the matter, Amcu operate differently, not like these yellow unions, NUM, WASA, in solidarity. We are driven by the mandate of our members. As we stand, We've been after this announcement of retrenchment. We've been to our members. They are steadfast to their strike. And surely these job losses are just directed to give NUM an edge as a majority union in Sibanye-Stillwater, nothing else. If you look, the areas, the operations that are targeted is where Amcu is a majority. That is clear that they are trying to counter the appeal processes or of an appeal court of verification. When we get to court, NUM must be seen as the majority union. So we are not going to give Nil Froneman, our brothers and sisters, on a silver platter.
Now let's talk about the secondary strike. How far and wide is it going to be? When is it going to start? Is it only going to affect Sibanye-Stillwater, or will other mining companies be affected as well? Can you just give us that detail?
Firstly, we call that there must be disinvestment from Sibanye. All the investors who are investing at Sibanye must choose between Nil Froneman or their investments. If they choose Nil Froneman, they will suffer the consequences. The secondary strike, it will take place from Rustenburg mines, where it will be. We've got a mandate at Impala that yes, Impala will be supporting the secondary strike. We've been to Lonmin, they are supporting the secondary strike. Then we'll be traveling to Limpopo East and also to get a mandate. And also to the coal division, where Amcu has got a recognition and a majority in those mines, we'll be asking them to give a support to this secondary strike.
Well, are you in discussions with other stakeholders, for example, the Minerals Councils, Minister from Gweda Mantashe from the Department of Mineral Resources, and Sibanye-Stillwater in its own? Are you in discussions to remedy the situation and actually not go ahead with the secondary strike and the initial strike?
I've tried to engage with the minister, and to me now it's clear that it's not the minister for minerals or to embrace all the unions. He just embrace NUM. So he's the minister for NUM. Where NUM is losing the status, he will intervene. Like, for instance, at Lily Mine, the minister never asked about Lily Mine since he's been to the office. But he's been to Gloria, a mine where the illegal miners were trapped. Why he rushing to Gloria is because NUM is the constituents of NUM. So where we need him most, he doesn't avail himself. So therefore, we are on our own on this. So we are not going to continue to allow the remnants of apartheid, the racist Nil Froneman, to continue with this modus operandi that was used by Margaret Thatcher in the 80s when he breaks the union in Britain, where he used the state. Same Sibanye has used the state. Our members have been shot by the SAPS at Free State, in Free State. So he's using all the state apparatus to mislead them, to say the strike is unprotected, arresting our members, spending Christmas in jail. So we cannot allow that. These minerals belong to the people of South Africa.
Now, let's just look at the reality of the employees at these mines. They haven't had pay since last November. They on a 3-month strike. Next week it will be 3 months. The longest has been Marikana, of course, 5-month strike. What's the reality? Now you want to go on a secondary strike. The reality is that these people can't feed their families. What does Amcu have to say about that reality?
The workers who are members of Amcu who are on strike, they are at work. They do have a provident fund. They've been saving those little peanuts for a few years. The question should be, 10 million South Africans, they go to bed without food. They've never seen the door of employment. And those job losses shouldn't be blamed to Amcu, should be blamed to the government that have an economy that does not create demands. We are exporting jobs every day in this country. So if you've got such a rich country with minerals, but we cannot industrialize, we cannot beneficiate, so who must we blame? Secondly, we mustn't blame Amcu for job losses. You must blame the government, because are the one who passed the laws. We are the only country that has got a law to retrench when you don't make profit. Section 189, it says if the company doesn't make profit, they must retrench. So our government laws promote the profit before, its own people. So, but it doesn't promote the bargaining. They don't enforce bargaining. Bargaining is not law. It's an interest issue. But when you go to Scandinavian country, the bargaining, it's law. But here, the retrenchment of the workers, it's law, but the bargaining is not law. That's why Froneman is applying these underhand tactics, assisted by sinister forces. And you'll remember, Vusi Sampula, who is the ER whatever executive, he confirmed to me to say Franz Baleni, the former NUM General Secretary, is an advisor. He is in the executive advisory board of Sibanye. So what would you expect at the end of the day? Because they try to protect NUM survival because they are bleeding members left, right, and center. The call for Amcu is to say, if we are still a member of NUM, just leave NUM, because NUM protect the interest of the monopoly. They've signed last night another extension with Sipunzi at night. Where did they get a mandate at night to sign that agreement?
Well, that is the president of Amcu, Joseph Matunjwa. Strong words saying that he's going to forge ahead with the secondary strike. If you remember clearly, the president of the country earlier this year said that the mining industry was a sunrise industry. It seems like that very sun is setting now with this secondary strike being called by Amcu, wanting a shutdown essentially of the mining industry. Back to you in studio.
Yeah, thanks very much for that, Aviwe Mtila, live to us there from that